Hello, I'm Steve, and thank you for visiting our Patio Heat channel, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for ideal patio comfort. Check out our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Please tap that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Now let's get heating. Alright, so here we have this residential application. You can see we have a rather large fan here. There is a doorway back here, and I think this might be a doorway here as well, and I don't know that this is enclosed or not. I think it's just an open air area. We do have a nice fireplace here, and we also have some recessed lighting in the ceiling. Now I have this fan centered within the span of this distance from over here to over here, centered right down the middle, and that's where I got my center point for the fan itself. And it's an 8-foot diameter fan, as well as the can lights. I have a 9-foot square, and then I place those lighting fixtures right at that 9-foot mark on the edges at the ends of each, or corners of each square rather. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the overall dimensions I have. So there's several dimensions I have here, and some of them are just for your visual aspect. But I have 19.5/8 by 17.4.5, and then I have a ceiling height of 10.5.5, and then there's a lower beam that's out here that's at 9.11, and there's also another beam that comes down just slightly lower. I don't have that dimension here. I do have this beam out at about 2 feet from this inside edge to over here, and then I believe this is about the same here. I don't know for sure exactly how I have that, but it's a square inside here. But I don't think that's going to be an issue here. You can see this. I do have this as the 8-foot diameter, so the fan blades stick out just slightly further than my actual 8-foot diameter here. Alright, let's see if there's anything else I want to speak of. And I think that's about it. Alright, so also you'll notice here I have this approximate square feet of the inside of this structure, and I have that at 276 square feet. The requirement would be roughly about 82,800 BTUs to heat up the whole entire space. And with an electric heater, the highest power you can get is approximately 20,500 BTUs. I would probably go a little bit lower, maybe 10% less if this was in a warmer climate, but this is a very cold climate at times of the year. And you'd probably want to regulate the amount of heat that you have out here with a control system, or maybe a simple duplex switch, or on off for each individual heater that I place here. So let's go ahead and take off those dimensions, and I'm going to place on the heaters themselves. So what I have here is I have 4 of the 6,000 watt unit. This would provide enough heat for this entire space here. If you're looking just to heat up certain areas, then you can obviously eliminate ones that you see that or feel that aren't appropriate for your space. But you can see I have them. Essentially, it's 18 inches off of this side over here, and then with this fan blade, these fans I'm told are steel fan blades, so they're non-combustible. Now you wouldn't want the direct ray right on top of a non-combustible fan blade, even if it's made out of steel, unless it can withstand some tremendous rays. And I'm going to go ahead and just put the clearance below the heater on. You can see that the fan blade itself on the tip is just barely in that dimension here, and I'm going to put the dimensions back on here. You can see that with my dimensions, I'm just probably, this is the true 8-foot diameter dimension here, but I'm just probably within 2 inches of that. Now this is the clearance to combustible dimension, this 18 on all 4 sides, as well as 36 inches below. So that's how we meet those clearances, and this fan blade is not a combustible fan blade in this case. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn that off, and turn the clearances off, and now we'll go ahead and show you what the footprint of heat. Oh, so by the way, I just basically centered each unit, so this is centered between these lights, and so centered in the room, and then that 18 inches of clearance that we're meeting over here. And I chose the 18 inches of clearance because this height, I believe, was, let's see if I have it on here. Yeah, we have this height of 9.5 inches from the ceiling down to the bottom edge. And while this is just a little bit below, or above, I should say, that dimension or that elevation, then we still need to meet that clearance, you know, for those combustibles. So we're just about a ½ inch there, really, maybe 3/4 of an inch in there. And that's why I chose the 18 inches of clearance. All right, let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So with the footprint of heat, you can see that we are covering the space fairly well. There's just a couple of corners here that are being missed, but you probably will not be occupying that space. And I think the center area here is also not being fully engulfed in the heat ray itself. Just a little square here, probably about a foot by 2 foot or something of that nature, a foot by a foot or 2 feet by 2 feet, something like that. But the overall footprint is fairly well for this space, and I think this would work out really well for this application. Now, if you were looking at maybe recessing these, you would have to be able to box in a flush mount kit in each one of these locations, and so you'd have to structure the ceiling so that it would allow for those recess mounting in there. One last thing, you can see the elevation height of the heater location. So the bottom edge of this heater is at really a perfect height for this particular model because of the fact that you get the most optimum amount of heat at the seating elevation. Now if you moved it up, let's say into a recessed type of application, then you know, your ray is just a little bit above where the ideal amount of heat would be. So that's still acceptable, but just note that it's not the 100% acceptable amount. Also, this environment, I believe, gets into the low 30s at different times of the year. That's why I'm using that BTU requirement that I mentioned here before of this 82,000 BTUs roughly for this space. So there'll be times of the year that 82,000 will definitely be too hot for an application like this. Let's say it's in the upper 60s or maybe in the you know, lower 70s. Then you definitely want to have some kind of control system so you can dim this heater system so that it's more acceptable for that. One last thing, you know, you might notice here that some of this ray is going outside of the structure, and this one here is being absorbed into the wall, which is fine. There is some glass over here, but you can see that the ray is at its, you know, very furthest point. You don't want the ray to hit it within that 36 inches here, but it is physically there, so you could change this angle maybe 3 to 5 degrees, point it towards the center, and same with this one over here, point it towards the center, so that you're capturing more of the ray in the center of your application, as well as you get a better footprint here in the center of the space as well. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plans, send your information to designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and kindly hit that like button. It helps others find our channel as well as gets our information out to others on YouTube. Thank you and have a great day.